police in Australia appear to have disputed a claim made by Prince Andrew's accuser, Virginia Giuffre.
Virginia Giuffre, she said the impact triggered kidney failure, sparking fears for her life.
That she was involved in a serious crash.
Fucking strangers bareback has got nothing on fucking a royal. It really doesn't. Like, the likelihood that you will die young before your time is off the charts.
There are some conflicting details in this, aren't there?
We are getting reports that Diana, Princess of Wales, has been badly injured in a car crash in France.
Like, there's obvious fuckery to this, isn't there? Like, I don't think I've ever dealt with a story like this before, where either way, it would be explosive. Ladies and gentlemen and everything in between, welcome. Welcome back to another episode of Aid Thompson and Other Disappointments, your twice weekly delve into the worlds of news, current affairs, shit, piss, awfulness, more news and a bit more dystopia. After all of that, consider me your sort of your twice weekly correspondent from the world of dystopia, if you will. Or the Willy Wonka of dystopia is another way I like to brand myself. Dancing around all of the horror stories that we see out there in this formerly Great Britain. How are you doing, guys? What's going on? What's the happy haps? What news stories have caught your eye? I was about to say this week, we're only halfway through. Only halfway through a week, but somehow it feels like we're about 52, like 360, like it feels so long now. Just even by the time you get to hump day, which, you know, fuck my entire life for calling Wednesday hump day, obviously. But, you know, even by Wednesday, doesn't it feel like you're ready for the weekend again? Even just by the middle of the week, guys, I'm like, I'm done with this week. I can't take any more. There's just so much chaos, isn't there? News stories exploding every other minute. This scandal, that corruption, this conspiracy, that trade war tariff meltdown. Christ. What's new with me? Let's get some personal stuff out of the way first, shall we? As is custom, as is usual for these shows. What's new with me? I was on LBC last night. It's Wednesday at time of recording, so it was Tuesday night. I was back on LBC. Some of you may... Oh, look, I've got a thumbs up. There we go. One day I'll learn how to disable that feature. I have no idea why it suddenly kicks in. Gives me a thumbs up from the streaming software. Anyway, so I was on LBC last night. Some of you may have been aware of that. And it's not 100% new territory for me because I did call into James O'Brien once or twice, I think. Another time I spoke to Tom Swarbrick of Theresa May's cabinet fame. Phoned in to him one afternoon. And of course I was on Ian Dale's show last year. His evening panel. I was a panellist on there last year. So it's not entirely new for me, experience-wise. But it is still quite interesting, I thought. You know? So that was good fun. Like, it's always going to be a bit exciting, isn't it, if I ever get the chance to do something like that? Because these things occasionally, they do come knocking on my door. You know, I've been lucky enough to do what have I done so far? I did a little thing at Glastonbury with Danny fucking Price, if you're familiar with him, on Instagram. And Supertansky was there. Graham was there. I was on Byline TV with Marina Perkis one time. Of course it's going to be a little bit exciting to do something like this, you know, to be in a room, to be at a venue like some of those, broadcasting to tens of thousands of people or whatever the figures are for these sorts of things. But every time I do it, I do sort of come away feeling a little bit disappointed. You know, but like not in the show. The show is fine. The show's lovely. They're always put together by lovely people, the producers, the handlers, whatever. Not the show, but more like just myself. You know? Bit disappointed in myself after these sorts of things. Like I'm sat on the tube on my way out of Westminster, because that's where the studio is. And I'm consciously thinking to myself, like as I'm sitting on the tube, I'm consciously thinking like, I should have been more like raucous. You know, like I am on the pod. I should have been more raucous. I should have like let out your dad's balls or, you know, spat out some hugely problematic metaphor the way that I do to you guys on here. Like in my mind, I'm Doug Stanhope. Just know that, right? In my mind, I'm, you know, punk politics. I'm chaotic. I'm a dirtbag. I push it too far, you know. On my way into LBC yesterday, I was like, "Oh, you're going to be in for a rough ride with this wild card that you've booked for your panel this evening." Like that's what I'm like in my head. You haven't got a clue what you guys are in for. I'm that much of a wild card. You've made the biggest mistake and you don't even know it. But then you get in there, you know, you check in and you go into the studio and like the back room, kind of green room area, and everyone's just really nice and professional and it's quiet. Like there's nothing fucking raucous about the LBC set in Millbank. Like it's just professional. That's what it is. It's quiet and it's professional and serious. It's current affairs and producers with earpieces and, you know, it's like, what would I equate it to? It's like rocking up to a bar, ready to get reco, ready to get on it, son. You rock up to the bar and then you realise that actually the bar that you've rocked up to is just the customer service desk at a Santander. Like that's what it's like that kind of... You've got completely the wrong vibe for this environment aid. It's not that vibe here. But then you think, you know, well, what if I did? You know, what if I was like that on Ian Dale's LBC show? His evening panel. You know, like what would actually happen if I did just let out the horror? Just unleash the raucous punk politics shit. If I just exerted my usual shtick out across the LBC airwaves, what would happen? You know? If like... When Ian goes, and just sat to my right is satirist and podcaster Aid Thompson. If then I was like, thanks Ian. Yes, it's lovely to be here. Hey, do you know what? People's bills are up. The tariffs are about to make everybody worse off. And there's a tidal wave of austerity on the horizon. And I don't think any of us in this studio are on less than double the average salary. So yeah, I'm just excited to be here with you, to be with all of you good people lamenting to the broke and desperate masses why we think paying for bombs with their benefits is a price worth paying. Let's dance. Like, I'd love to do that. Honestly, I would. But it's just not that vibe, man. It's not at all. It's very serious. Very serious and very quiet, very professional. And also, like, you know when you don't know somebody that well, and you don't know how far you can push it, you know? Like, I don't know Ian Dale very well at all. I don't know his producer very well, although both of them seem very nice. But it's a bit like, is it rude? I worry sometimes. I mean, it sounds ridiculous considering how belligerent and impolite and insulting and acerbic I can be on this show. But I worry about being rude in person. And is it rude to go on their show having been invited on as a panelist to contribute among other panelists in a serious discussion about Ukraine and tariffs and Le Pen or whatever? Like, I think if I did do that, if I went on there and I was that guy, I reckon the producers would be like, well, fuck that idiot. We're never having... No, I won't recommend you to other panels. Are you nuts? And then I'd be on the tube train on the way home like, now I feel a different kind of sad and disappointed. Now I'm regretful and reflective. There goes the media work, right? At least you went out in style, though. But I mean, it was fun. It was fun regardless, right? It was a fun experience to have. I'm very grateful to have been invited on once again. But you know what? I kind of get the feeling, the more that I think about it, I kind of get the feeling that I am just not meant for those shows, like that kind of show, Like, I got the exact same feeling after I hosted the panel at the Riot Society gig that we did last year, was it? Or the year before? And the panel was, it was me, Gemma Forte, Jolyon Rubinstein, Denise Headley. But the panel, it got so heated and so serious. And I remember saying to like Danny and Gemma and people afterwards, I was like, fuck this. I just, if this is what like activism is like, if this is what like putting socially conscious comedy nights is like, all I want to do is stand up and the podcast and just talk shit. That's all I want to do. Like, there are stacks of people out there who do the earnest and serious stuff light speed better than I do, than I could ever do. So I feel like just go and listen to them. They do it so much better. There's 100 of those people out there you can tune into every day or download their podcasts. So yeah, I don't know if I'm going to do panel stuff again. Although, do you know what? I said that after the Riot Society, and I said it after Glastonbury, and I still went ahead and went back to doing it again last night. So, maybe it's just my catchphrase. Every time I go on LBC, immediately afterwards, I'll be like, I don't know if I'm going to do these panels anymore. Anyway, so should we talk about some news? Some newsy current affairs bits? Shall we? Let's get into some shit, guys. So, bills are going up, if they have not gone up already. Your energy, your council tax, these Trump tariffs are coming in, and it sounds like we will not be spared those. After all, I'm not entirely sure what the exchange rate is for a state dinner with the king versus one tariff, but evidently it is not quite on a par with the $3 billion that it's likely to cost us. The invite to the king, it just doesn't quite match up to it, seemingly. Val Kilmer is dead. Very sad. Val Kilmer, 90s pop culture, very, very famous for a little bit. One of the most hilariously awkward actors in history, by all accounts. Who, like, everyone's talking about his roles in Top Gun and Batman, aren't they? Which is fine, but that is what he's probably most known for. But I would also argue that he's equally well known alongside those two roles for being a bit awkward. That's the third thing that he's famous for. But that's getting missed off of quite a lot of the obituary coverage that I've read. But if you want a good laugh, like I know it's a dark and very serious, professional and quiet, serious time at the moment. If you want a good laugh to alleviate some of the depression, a good laugh for all the wrong reasons, please go and read up on everyone's experiences of working with Val Kilmer, with him and Marlon Brando on the set of a movie called The Island of Dr. Moreau, because it is hilarious. It's like, please go and read it. The Wikipedia page by itself is a comedy work of art. It's like, you know the film Tropic Thunder? You remember that one? Ben Stiller, Jack Black. That movie was heavily influenced by the tales that emerged from the set of The Island of Dr. Moreau. Like, the write-up for it on Wikipedia is so ridiculously like you would never believe that a movie set could descend into that level of chaos, from the behavior of the stars to the storm that hit the set, to the ego clash of Marlon Brando and Val Kilmer working together. The first director fucked off. He just had enough after like 2 weeks, apparently. The first director that was contracted, he was like, I can't fucking take this. It's ridiculous. The second one that was contracted in, the moment that Val Kilmer said his last line on set, like, you know, sometimes you'll see footage from the set and they'll be like, and that's a wrap for Jack Black. Everyone will clap because then that's his last line filmed, right? Well, this, Val Kilmer in The Island of Dr. Moreau, the moment that Kilmer said his last line on film and they wrapped him, the director asked the security guards to come and just take him away, just kick him off the set. Like, I'm not saying this stuff to, you know, speak ill of the dead. I'm just saying, you know, God rest his soul, obviously. I'm sure he was eventually a reasonable, nice guy. And, you know, from some of the coverage that I've taken in today, it does sound like he developed some self-awareness as he got older. But the fucking chaos of that movie is funny as fuck. It's so funny. I'm so here for the chaos and the egos. It sounds like a Will Ferrell movie, you know? Like the sort of ego that they satirize in Anchorman or like Blades of Glory. Anyway, I suppose we should, you know, bit of pop culture stuff there for you. What else has happened? Virginia Giuffre, guys. Virginia Giuffre, née Roberts, has re-emerged in the news over the last couple of days. I'm sure you will be aware, which has it's actually been a bit weird, if I'm honest. A little bit strange. Virginia Giuffre re-emerging across the pages of Sky News and a few of the newspapers. Like, obviously, we all know her from the fact that she accused, sued in New York, and won in the civil case against Prince Andrew, right? She claims she was trafficked by Jeffrey Epstein, and he told her to sleep with Prince Andrew, and Prince Andrew knew about this arrangement, and that's what she alleged, and it was found that he was liable, so he had to pay. Actually, no, wait, hang on. They didn't find that he was liable. He settled out of court, right? But I mean, you know, he called her a liar for months and months, and his legal team tried their very best to besmirch her reputation. And then eventually he donated about, I think it's estimated to be about $20 million to make this whole thing go away on the advice of his legal team. Well, you're never going to win this, Andy. Yeah, It's much, much better for everyone, I think, if you just pay her to go away. Can you get your hands on $20 million? Can you, Andy? Well, I could ask Mummy, I suppose. Well, fine. You go talk to Mummy. We'll go make the calls. Fine. So he paid her $20 million. And so the other day, she gets hit by a school bus. She lives in Australia. Some sort of Australian school bus thing is traveling apparently reasonably fast. And she gets hit by it in her car. And so as the news alerts come in, I'm sat on my sofa with my other half, right? Watching a bit of TV. And this notif comes in, and I'm like, holy shit. I said, Virginia Giuffre's been hit by a bus. And my missus is, she's not as much of a news addict as I am. She's actually been raised to be emotionally healthy. She doesn't crave the fucking chaos like I do. So she doesn't necessarily immediately know who I'm talking about when I say this. I'm like, Virginia Giuffre got hit by a bus. And she's probably thinking, like, who the fuck is, like, Virginia? What, is she, like, the MP for, Stockwell? Also, is this someone that you used to work with? Or, like, who are you talking about? And, and she's trying to get on with the food shop also. She sat there with her mobile phone out. She's trying to do the Tesco food shop app thing. I'm like, God, this is so suspicious, though. Isn't it? Like, it is. It's fucking weird, isn't it? I'm like, cast your mind back. Over the last, 20 years, is it? However long it's been. Like, the two women who fell foul, mostly, with the royals, who fell out of favour with the royal family. If this does turn into something fatal, which that is what the reports are saying it's going to, she has days to live now. How weird would it be that both the two women who both fell the most foul of the royal family have both died from car accidents? That is pretty fucking weird, no? And by this time, she knows who I'm talking about, right? She sort of figured it out. But I'm sat over here, I'm like, it's sus as fuck, though, isn't it? And as I'm babbling all of this, she cares, kind of. Sort of, but not that much. Not as much as I think it's interesting. I'm invested in this. She's just like, all right, just in a minute. I'm busy here, Tesco, food shop, app, still tapping away. But obviously I don't stop. Because I never stop. I'm fucking relentless. Especially when it's something like this. When I've picked up the scent of fuckery. There's obvious fuckery to this, isn't there? I'm like, two women, two separate women, and the firm hate both of them, and they both end up dying of road accidents. What are the chances? What are the actual chances of that? That two women both end up dying, ultimately from the same cause of death, the same tragic accident cause of death. And they both pissed off the same family, and that same family happened to be the British royal family. I'm no mathematician, guys. Can't stress that enough. But somebody out there can work out the odds of that. What are the odds? What are the sheer fucking odds that both those accidents, are legitimate? It's got to be a minuscule likelihood. And then I was like, oh, what about this? What about if you flip the likelihood on its head? How likely it becomes that once you've become sexually active with a Windsor, right? Fucking Diana, now Virginia Giuffre, and last year, Kate got off lightly. I was like, statistically... What's the... fucking strangers bareback has got nothing on fucking a royal. It really doesn't. Like, the likelihood that you will die young before your time is off the charts if you fuck the royal. It is the deadliest of sexual activity. Like, you thought it was reckless and irresponsible the time you went bare with the chick that you only just met in the John Peel tent back in your tent. You thought that was reckless and stupid and dangerous. But fucking a royal. Guys, the chances of you dying before your time are insane. The likelihood that you will not actually live for much longer is like, you know, it's like, I don't even know where it would pitch in, you know? Driving 100 on a motorway in icy weather. It's, you know, pretty, like, that's about there. Speedballing fentanyl on Hollywood Boulevard. That is pretty risky. It's quite dangerous behavior. Investigating corruption in Moscow. That's also, yeah, that's not ideal. Pretty stupid. But none of them compete. None of them even come close with the ratio, with the likelihood of having sex with a royal. It's the new fucking danger sport, is what it is. Anyway, so today the story got a little bit weirder, though, didn't it? Don't know if you've been following it. And look, let me just interject here for a moment to say, obviously, this is horrendous, right? I know it's an absolutely fucking harrowing story, a really, you know, tragic end, if this is indeed, you know, how it's going to end for her. I'm absolutely not mocking her death. Don't get it twisted. I'm mocking the obvious dodginess, shadiness of the royal family is clearly what I'm after here. Like, what are they even doing? Like, there's no way that all of these instances have been legitimate as they've been presented. Like, Diana's old bodyguard, dead. I think that was a motorcycle accident or something, wasn't it? Diana and Dodi, dead. Road accident. Now this woman's going to be dead from a road accident, if indeed those initial reports are to be believed. Like, either this one is dodgy or one of the others is dodgy. There's no way that all of these are 100% as presented to us. Absolutely no way. But still, you know, every morning there'll be a nice picture of a royal on the front page of your least favourite paper, and 65 million people will be like, "Oh, well, they do a lot for us, though, don't they? They do. Yeah, I like to queue out on the Mall for them every time one of them gets married. Oh, I'll queue out there for days in my deck chair, waving my little flag. Oh, God bless them. God bless them all. God bless Charlie and the whole castle. God bless, and all of the PR departments and PR consultants that make me love all of it. God bless them." Anyway, so then it comes to this morning, and reports begin to emerge that the car crash actually had no injuries reported. Which is weird. Because she says she was in a car crash. She says the injuries are so severe, she's got literally days to live. She says she's got kidney renal failure or something. She just wants to see her kids again. It's incredibly sad. And then this new report comes out this morning saying there were no injuries reported as part of that crash. And instinctively, I'm like, well, you know, this is a weird headline. Right, because it's in the Telegraph, which is a royalist right-wing paper. You know, no injuries were reported in that crash, though, is their sort of suspicious reaction to it. And I'm like suspicious of them because they're so royalist. But who knows, you know, maybe they're telling the truth. Maybe she has staged the whole thing. You know, like no injuries were reported, even though she claims to have been hit by a bus and only have 4 days to live. Maybe that is the scenario that we're actually dealing with. And so then it gets me thinking, like, what if it was staged? You know, how fucking wild would that be? I'm second guessing myself. But then I read on in the same article and it's got quotes in there from her father, sort of explaining things. It says she got hit by a bus and there was about £1,000 worth of damage to her car, which she said the bus basically ripped through it, like turned it to tinfoil. The bus driver said that he would call the incident in later and he still had a busload of kids. So she sort of shrugged and went off home, I guess, thinking that she was fine. But then it turns out that she's not fine. So she goes to the hospital and the hospital do some tests on her. And it turns out there's some kidney damage or something. And at that point, the doctors give her the bad news. They're like, you know, you only probably have about 3 or 4 days to live. And so she puts the thing up on her private Facebook account, thinking that it's only going out to friends and family, but it's linked to her Instagram, which is how everybody then immediately sees it, and it blows up. So then I'm like, so I thought it was real to begin with. It seemed really dodgy to me. It seemed sus as fuck. And by the way, my girlfriend is still sitting there this whole time. I'm rabbiting on and she's like, will you please shut up? I'm trying to do the food shop here. And my son's next to me crying like, I thought we were going to play Roblox. I thought we were going to play video games. I'm just sat there back. It seems so sus though. But first it was like, you know, first it was real to me. But it seemed really dodgy. I was suspicious. And then they put this headline that kind of makes me think, oh, well, hang on, what? No injuries were reported with it. So maybe it's faked? And then the dad in the same article, cheers, by the way. Then the dad in the same article of that headline makes you think that actually, no, like it's legit. Like he says, no, it is real. You know, she's very depressed. Maybe a different doctor can do something for her, but it's not looking good. And then this afternoon, like more stuff comes out. It says, you know, she broke a restraining order a few days ago. She separated from her husband. She was in court about the restraining. I don't know if the restraining order relates to her husband or not. She's due in court again next week about it. Her children, for one reason or another, are estranged from her. Somebody else was saying, some socialite who's very chummy with Prince Andrew, was saying that the FBI might be onto her about something. And so, anyway, look, this is my problem here now, guys. Influencers. People of the booch. This is my problem here now, is I'm a bit like, is this all Buckingham Palace PR? Like, is this all the firm? Right, and their PR agents and consultancies. Remember, I always say this, it's the biggest state-funded PR department in the fucking world. Their relationship with newspapers is well documented. It's so hooky and shady. Is this all the firm kind of trying their best to further besmirch a woman that has clearly caused them a lot of embarrassment, what with her being trafficked and raped by the Queen's favourite son? This bloody troublemaker is what she is. Like, is this the firm doing this, breeding suspicion, making even anti-royalists like me go, huh, that is a bit weird. Is it that? Could it be that conspiratorial? Or could this be actually legitimately like a fucking long con? Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't think I've ever dealt with a story like this before where either way it would be explosive. Like, if the crash is legitimate, then it still stinks to high heaven. It's like, you know, Diana's bodyguard, Dodie, now Virginia Giuffre. Like, even if the crash isn't staged, it stinks to high heaven. Like, she would have been wronged and had her life ruined by entitlement, by classism, by misogyny, in a way where the ripple effects of those events that took place like 15, 20 years ago, whenever it was, they are still hitting her in her later years, with a marriage breaking down, a strained relationship reportedly with her own children. So if the crash happened and it's legitimate, it stinks to high heaven. But equally, if the crash is not legitimate, and she does turn out to have been something resembling some sort of con woman, or the feds were after her, or there is something to that whole thing, then oh my God, guys. I have got literally years of very awkward Andrew memes and editing effects that I'm going to need to carefully retrospectively remove in the edit. Like, honestly, like, what the fuck? I may as well delete my entire YouTube channel. Shut down all my platforms. What do you guys think is happening? Do you think, like, are all of these stories that are coming out now about her, is it Buckingham Palace trying to kind of sully her name? Or could it be a long con? Honestly, I don't know. And I feel like a massive twat even talking about it when she could literally just be sat there with now, what, like 3 days to live? Anyway, shall we move on? Let's talk about something else, shall we? Finally tonight, I just want to talk about the Tories and this recent free speech nonsense that they are pitching their flags to. Let's do it. So, Kemi Badenoch said the other day that J.D. Vance and Donald Trump were right, that they had a point. They were right to have concerns about the UK's commitment to free speech. It is at risk. It's in trouble, people. And this has, excuse me, this has come up after a woman here in the UK, she held up a sign that said, "Here to talk if you want to," outside an abortion clinic, as I understand it. And she was arrested. And clearly Trump and Vance were not impressed by this at all. Here to talk, harm the sign, holds it up, gets arrested. And so reports came out yesterday that suggested that the US negotiators for this mythical trade deal, it's always being dangled in front of our faces, tickling our bollies with it. So they are. US negotiators were trying to weave this into the trade deal negotiations, where they were saying, like, you know, there will be no free trade without free speech, was the line being bandied around. So I suppose there's an avenue that we could skate down with this, isn't there? You know, an easy, perhaps somewhat lazy approach that we could take to Kemi Badenoch siding with Trump and Vance over their concerns over free speech in the UK. I suppose we could point out how ridiculous it is that the US are demanding free speech of the UK while they cozy up to Putin and Russia, where you can get bundled into a van for holding a blank piece of cardboard up in Moscow Square. They don't have any problem with that. In fact, they're talking about relaxing sanctions for Vladimir Putin. No concerns about free speech being at risk in Russia. It's a bit strange, isn't it? And of course, I suppose we could touch on Putin's well-documented love of showing people around very tall buildings, and specifically journalists, showing them how the windows work on the 32nd floor. Does Trump or Vance, do they have any issues with the risks to free speech out in St. Petersburg and Moscow? I'm not sure that they do. And I suppose we could talk about the ridiculousness of Brexiters, couldn't we? Who wanked themselves limp over sovereignty, foghorning their disapproval of unelected foreign powers meddling in our domestic sovereign British politics who now presumably will cheer on Donny as he makes demands in how we run domestic politics ourselves here. Another unelected foreign leader meddling in our politics. I can't imagine how they'll cheer that on. But I'm sure they will find a way because they are very clever. So we could go down those roads. We could skate down those avenues, guys. But no, let's try and stay on topic here, shall we? Kemi has jumped on this, such is her desire to stay relevant and gain at least some press coverage this week. And some press coverage is sort of what she's got for it. The Sun covered it yesterday. They said Kemi Badenoch backs President Donald Trump, declaring free speech in the UK is at risk. They said, which, I mean, I don't personally think that it is. Don't know how you guys feel about that. Any of my listeners, any of my viewers, people who have jumped over onto Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever. Do you feel like you can't say anything anymore? And if not, is there anything specific that you would love to be able to say? But you just can't anymore. Not since they got rid of free speech. Oh, Christ. I remember when I used to be able to say blank, blank, blank. You know, maybe, could you just tell me? Tell me in the comments what it is that we can't say anymore that you really wish that you could. Maybe you, dear listener, maybe you think that the abortion protester should have been allowed to say that. That she was free to stand there with her little placard saying, I'm here to talk if you want. Maybe you think she should have been free of any police involvement, any threat of arrest, to stand there and say that with her placard. But, you know, maybe if you do feel that way, which would be sort of understandable, maybe you should just quietly consider for a moment that actually what she was arrested for was breaching the buffer zone. Yeah, breaching that buffer zone that abortion protesters, like, you're allowed to protest it. You're allowed to hold up a sign. It doesn't matter what the sign says. You can hold up a sign that says, don't kill the baby, if you want to. It's the fact that she breached the buffer zone that the protesters are supposed to respect. And so then as she breached it, it doesn't seem insane that then the police stepped in and went, all right, come on, you stepped over, you're literally physically over the line. Here, so I'm sorry, we did warn you, you're going to have to come with us now. Like, it's not nutty that happened, is it? Like, this is the thing. It's like, all you have to do to expose the ridiculousness of this, the hypocrisy of it, is just consider the Just Stop Oil or, like, the Extinction Rebellion protests. Like, remember all of the hoopla, all of the hyperbole, all of the hysteria, when it was Just Stop Oil people who were protesting. They were like, we got to stop using fossil fuels now. We've got to stop taking leisure, cheap flights. Got to stop drilling for oil. And they were protesting. Nobody's taken any notice. So then they started chaining themselves to buildings. And people were like, oh, you're getting in people's way now. Well, yeah, like it's protest. It's action. We have to be disruptive. They're like, oh, I don't mind you protesting. You hold your little sign up, but just don't get in people's way. Don't block the road. Don't breach the zone. You have a specific zone here that you can hold your plaque up and shout your slogans, but don't get in people's way. And when they did, they got arrested. And it wasn't enough that they got arrested, that they might have some sort of court hearing. That was never enough. It was always people like Nick Ferrari going like, throw them in jail. Bloody theatre students, bloody entitled middle-class Surrey performing arts wankers. I say string them up. No sort of judicial punishment was hard enough for the Just Stop Oil protesters if they breached the zone. And yet, you know, this fucking idiot with her sign, here to talk, if you want to, steps over the line, breaches the zone, gets politely detained. She won't get a jail sentence. I would love to see the reaction from Kemi Badenoch, The Telegraph, The Times, J.D. Vance, Donald Trump. I'd love to see the reaction if they gave her the same sentence as they gave to the Just Stop Oil lot. 5-year sentence. We're going to treat them as a terror group. Treat this bitch as a terrorist and see what happens. I would come from both balls if they gave her half the sentence that they gave the Just Stop Oil lot. Christ. And even if we spool back, beyond Just Stop Oil, because that in itself feels like a bit of an easy avenue to skate down once again. But just consider whose fucking mouth this is spilling out of. Yes, that's a word. We made it up here tonight. We've coined a new phrase, guys. Just consider for a moment whose mouth that's coming out of, guys. It's coming out of the leader of the opposition, the leader of the Conservative Party. And who are the Conservative Party? What's their record like on protecting free speech? Was free speech ever at risk when the Conservatives were in power? Did they celebrate it in their 14 years in power? No, of course they didn't. They did the opposite of that. Like, what did they actually do in their time in power to protect free speech? I'll give you a little reminder, a little crash course. They criminalized protest. That's what they did. They made it harder to protest things that you don't like. They made it like if it's noisy and disruptive, then it's criminal. I remember when people were protesting at the Conservative Party conference and they had like what looked like state troopers ushering these people out of threat that they might be arrested, detained. What else did they do? They oversaw the Not My King protests, bundled those protesters, that's anti-monarchy protesters, bundled them into a van, still better than being hit by one, bundled them into a van, threw them into a court, and then, the lawyers came in and went, you literally, you can't do this. This is against the law. You're breaking the law right now by trying to invoke the law. What are you doing? They're protesters. You can't just arrest. And then the courts, the police, everyone were like, yeah, all right. Okay, fine. What else did the Tories do to protect free speech? It was the Tories that confiscated the Guardian's hard drives. Nobody remembers that, do they? Everybody forgets that little debacle. You remember the Edward Snowden stuff, WikiLeaks, the collateral murder footage. The Guardian were publishing it, I think alongside, was it the New York Times and WikiLeaks? And the Tories stormed in, the Tory-led security services, with the blessing of the Tory cabinet, stormed into the Guardian, the newspaper, and demanded the hard drives of the rest of the material. Demanded that they destroyed the hard drives. Such was their commitment to freedom of speech. It was the Tories who removed Channel 4 News from their press pool and ultimately replaced them with GB News, a significantly more flattering and friendly news outlet. It was the Tories who yanked Mateless off air by way of installing... In fact, basically the entire BBC board was replaced with fucking Tories, or people who were connected to the Conservative Party, or people who used to run for the Conservative Party. That is their commitment. That is their history of protecting free speech. Like I've said it before, I'll say it again. They don't want free speech. What they want is their speech. They want their speech to not just be protected, but amplified through the mediums of places like GB News, places like the majority right-wing press, places like X, which is now well documented as having amplified right-wing accounts while muting progressive ones. They don't want free speech. They want their speech, guys. So it's ridiculous when I hear, Kemi Badenoch saying this stuff. But it's all the more ridiculous when you consider she's very much taking the baton of Bellandry from Donald Trump, from fucking Grand Pop Tango over there. Because what are their fucking free speech credentials like? What is America doing at the moment? America are banning books from libraries. That's what America's doing. America are banning left-leaning journalists from the White House press pool because they don't like the coverage that they're getting. Just want Breitbart, Newsmax, Fox News, and fucking Tim Pool in their press pool. America are putting pressure on academic institutions to silence their work, their findings, their academics, their professors. A lot of them are talking about leaving because they're petrified about what might happen if they publish a piece of work that the administration don't like, that is seen as anti-American or at worst, anti-Trump, guys. At odds with the MAGA movement. What are America's free speech credentials like that Kemi Badenoch is trying to channel back into Blighty to save our free speech, which is supposedly at risk? What else is America doing to protect its free speech? They are literally snatching motherfuckers off the street if they have a history of publishing pro-Gaza blogs. That's their commitment to free speech. Is if you publish a blog that they don't like, they will fucking snatch you up and post you to a jail 1,000 miles away without even telling your lawyer. But the whole thing is fucking disgusting, isn't it? I mean, here I was earlier, wasn't I, saying like, there's a million people out there who can do the earnest activist stuff. I just want to talk shit and have fun the whole time. Now I'm getting all ranty. Firing me up. Right, guys, I better run. Sorry, it's been a little bit haphazard and thrown together, this one this evening, but I wanted to make sure that there was a midweek show out for you. I'll be back Friday night with the live Friday night show, 7:30 as per usual. I've got my dad down this weekend, so editing and like clips and things may take a little bit longer. If you can't tune in for the live show on Friday night, you can always watch clips afterwards over on the Clips channel. But failing that, everything goes out to people who are not Patreons or channel members 2 days after, which leaves me on my final point, guys. If you're not on the Patreon yet, it starts at only £1 a month. You can join the channel on YouTube. That also starts at £1 a month. We are doing an in-person meetup once again in London on Saturday, the 7th of June. I haven't got the date in front of me now. Saturday, the 7th of June. Wait, I think it's the 6th or the 7th. Whatever that Saturday is. See, I told you I wasn't good at doing the admin, didn't I? So yeah, whatever that Saturday is, that's the day that we're doing the meetup. It will be about 3 p.m. in London. That's Saturday afternoon. Let's hope it's sunny. It'll be June, so hopefully it'll be hot. But yes, I'll be back Friday night. Alternative paper reviews every morning. Catch up with all of you soon. Okay, take care. Keep it booge. Keep it binfluencer. And we're out this motherfucker.